Hey guys, this is NarenZade with the Hammer Bros, and I just wanted to do another video on Warhammer because I've been watching all these videos about Warhammer as a process, and I just watched Skaven and AZ's video, and it kind of dawned on me that one of my other hobbies that I really love, which is poker, is very similar to Warhammer. Um, so I don't know how many people are familiar with poker, but it's actually a very skill-based game, similar to Warhammer, but it has the appearance of being mostly luck, which it isn't, because I mean there are people who win, world tours and things like that all the time, and are consistently, good and going to top tables and all that. Um, the thing is, though, is that there's an element of luck to it, certainly. When you get, to the highest levels, there are going to be people who decide, what they're going to play, and then when they play it, and um, all of that. So the thing is, uh, this is how I think when we're talking about A-list and C players and such. So you can get one of the best hands in poker. So like, let's say you have pocket aces, and that's your dark elf list. That's your one of your high elf lists. That's double steam tank empire list, that kind of stuff. But then you put it up against the worst hand in the game. You put it up against your beastmen, your 7-2 offsuit, right? So you're sitting there, and the 7-2 can outplay the player with two aces, and they can do things that unsettle the person with aces. So like if the flop, is something like, let's say they don't have a hand, and it's something like king, king, jack, or some such. That'll make some players hesitate with aces because usually you're raising, so it causes people would usually drop out. But if you stay, then you probably have a good hand. So now maybe you have trip kings. Maybe you had pocket jacks, and now you have three of a kind. And if you play it that way, you can get that person with the aces to fold, or make a mistake, or mess up their game plan. There's always those variables. And then at the same time, like, you can get lucky. And the flop will be 7-7-2. And you have a full house and they have pocket aces, and there's nothing the other person can do about it. I mean, sometimes that's just how Warhammer works. And I think that it's very similar to poker for that reason. There's a lot of luck involved on both sides, but at the same time there's also we're bringing our best lists or hands or whatever, and at the end of the day, it's going to be about how you move your models across the board and your matchups, which is something that I find at every GT I go to is something that I keep a close eye on, and I think to myself, what if I hit one of my bad matchups? Like when I played the Sustainable Center at Sylvania, and I played his dwarfs, I thought it was a really bad matchup for me, and it was. I mean, if we were playing standard Warhammer with how points would normally work, like you don't get half points for, units under 25% or 50% or whatever, I would have lost that game, because I couldn't kill one dwarf unit because I got shot to shit the whole time. So there's I think that matchups are something too that a lot of people don't think about, that are they're big factors. If you hit one of your bad matchups, you're gonna have a hard time winning a GT, or even winning that game. And to go back to the poker analogy, it's really hard to win a Warhammer game at a GT. Like Skaven and AZ said, if you go to a GT and you're not bringing your A game, then you're probably going to go 1-4, which is the truth. I mean, it's hard to win a game against someone who is a competitive Warhammer player, because you're both competitive players. You most likely brought decent lists. Most people, I don't think I've played against too soft of a list at a GT before. I mean, outside of like comp and such, which you're like, that's a softer choice, but comp makes it, so people take different things. So I think it's really hard to win 5 games of Warhammer playing at the top level. And that's why, when I was discussing how different people have won all these different GTs, it's because there's a pool of top players, and then you will normally see those top players in at least the top 15. And then, then it comes down to who had the better day, who had the better matchups. It's funny because that's a saying in poker. People say, well, that's more time. All the time people say, well, that's poker. I mean, you're ahead with, like I went to the casino a couple weeks ago. I had pocket kings, and the guy raises like $30. I raise him like 60, and we're both in for 90. And he's all in, so we flop. He has ace queen offsuit. I have king king. The only thing that saves him is an ace. The odds are, I think it's 70% to 30%, and he hits it. And there's just nothing you can do about it, so that's at the end of the game where I just played my buddy. We were playing turn 6. I miscasted my guy with warp lightning. He'd already taken a wound from something before, or he didn't miscast. He rolled a 1 on his warp lightning, killed himself. I roll misfire on my warp lightning cannon, 1, misfire on my other warp lightning cannon, 1. And that's a 300-point swing at the end of the game. And all you can say is, that's Warhammer. That's just how the dice roll sometimes. So those, but like Skaven and AZ said, it's those moments though where it's the possibility that anything can happen, which is something that I've always tried to impress on people. Like, if the game is never over, that's why my opponents at several GTs, if I'm losing a game, they'll say, do you want to just concede here? We're on like turn 5. You don't have a chance to win. Like, you're gonna lose. And I say, no, you have to table me if you want to win by a tabling. It's not fair to my opponent. And someone else who's trying to win, and I just give you 24 points. That's not fair. And there's always a chance that you void your you void your caster on, you will throw 2 dice, double 6s, void them. Anything can happen at any time, and I think that's what adds to the excitement of the game, as far as that portion of it goes. So I think, in the end, I think that they're both heavily skill-based games, and like Skaven and AZ said, list building is big. I mean, you can take a suboptimal choice, but not a bad choice. Like my Rat Ogre Bonebreaker hasn't been considered, from when I talk to people, a powerful choice, but it's not a bad choice either. It's not. You don't look at someone and go, "That's silly. Why would you take that?" It's not a questing knight, for example, but it's a suboptimal choice. Like my Bretonian list, it was suboptimal, but it's because it is a dice game, and because there is luck involved, and you can put yourself in a position to win and still not win. It's all those things that make the game worth playing, because it's like the Super Bowl and all of football. How they say any given Sunday, you can win. Anyone can win a GT, given enough luck and at least some semblance of skill. So I think that's something that keeps people playing. You might not be the best player, but every once in a while someone sneaks through and gets a win, and it's awesome. And it's very cool to walk up there and get your trophy or whatever, and see that from a new player. Like, you see guys who aren't one of the top guys, and then they get through, and everyone's really happy for that guy still. Like, sure, there's obviously going to be some guys who are bummed that they didn't get it, some of your more competitive guys, but in general, it's really cool to see someone rise up to that. And I think that's something that our game allows, is that you can just get that. And I think that's a big thing about it. So that's really all I had to say. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.